So the Abomination is now in play in lane number 2 there, right there. And we've also gone ahead and put the initiative here for this lane at the very, very top of the meter, being that's a Tyrant that came in. We also, based on the Tyrant card at this particular point, the first time the Abomination enters the battle mat, we place both Nobulous and the Abomination's Tyrant dice at the bottom of the initiative meter. So these two dice are going to be basically activating on their own. So things are going to get really interesting here and a lot tougher because we got to get rid of all the other baddies out here so that we're just dealing with those dice every once in a while, which is still pretty nasty. So now we got everything squared away and we're going to begin round number 3. The landscape has certainly changed. This is going to be a really interesting round and I hope we can survive. All right, so we're starting off with the Tyrant turn. So we'll go ahead and move this die up the initiative track, and this Tyrant here, being that's going after the strongest character and his melee, is going to move right here. Now this might look really bad, and it kind of is. We've got Duster trapped in the corner, but the only saving grace I have here is the fact that this Tyrant has the swap ability. So when this Tyrant here moves in this position, swap says at the end of the unit's turn it will switch positions with the closest, strongest opposing unit. So it will actually swap positions with me, thank goodness, allowing me to get out of there. Now, granted, I have to survive the attack. So the first thing I want to make mention of, guys, on the Tyrant die here, it actually has a black Tyrant die, but according to the Tyrant cards, you're not rolling the Tyrant die during the Tyrant's turn. You're rolling them when it actually lands in the initiative meter. So there's no roll of the Tyrant die as you would normally would with most Tyrants during their actual turn. So what we are rolling, though, is for an attack, and it has 2 attack dice coming at me. I have literally no defense, so if I take a high enough roll here, bad things happen. So we're really hoping that I can survive this, otherwise things are not looking good, and Gasket pretty much has to do everything. Okay, so that's good. I'll take that. That actually didn't work out too badly for me. So I still have 2 health. Whew, somehow managed to survive that. Okay, so I took my hit. I'm still standing. Everything is fine, but now we swap positions. So we're going to go ahead and swap, and he swaps with the strongest unit, so he can even swap with his own guys, but it has to be adjacent, of course. So I got lucky there, and I get pulled out of the corner, which kind of helps me out a little bit. And now, sure enough, I get to activate next, and I've definitely got some things to do here to prevent any life-threatening situations in the future. All right, so I got a plan of attack for Duster here. I'm going to go ahead and definitely use Blade Dip right now. So again, just to remind you guys, Blade Dip, I can use it by reducing it from my lock slot. It is currently at a 1, so I only have 1 more use of it. It's gone now. It's a consumable die, so I lose it. Basically, I apply it to my attack dice before rolling, and if I roll any bones on those attack dice, then it negates the poison completely. So I'm going to be rolling, I'm risking it pretty big here. I'm going to be rolling 3 attack dice, but if I can roll a single bone on those, the poison's a waste, but it's still a decent hit. I'm also going to roll 1 defensive die to get myself some defense so I don't die, and to even prevent that from happening, I'm going to roll what's called the Feign Death die, which I've never rolled with Duster, I don't believe yet. This one has multiple sides of Feign Death. The other side is just a +2 health, so +2 health will get me back up to full health, which is 4. The Feign Death side, if I get that, basically goes into an active slot, and the next time you would lose your last HP, instead you set your HP to 2 and place an untargetable effect die on yourself. So it really actually helps out quite a bit, regardless of which way it goes, and I'd rather have the extra health, being now that we've got one of the Tyrants basically in play, or an Abomination in play. So we're going to go ahead now and roll all of these dice. I've already dipped down my Blade Dip. We're going to roll, we're going to hope to see no bones on just the attack dice alone, and then we know the poison's successful. I could really help if it's a 3 poison. That'd be awesome. So let's go to the dice tray and roll these dice, see how it goes. All right, wish me luck. This is a pretty big roll, so I don't want to see any bones on the swords. Please, no bones. Yes. Okay, not the highest roll ever, and really didn't work out for the defense, but actually that landed really nicely. So we ended up getting 3. That is perfect. That is going to put a poison 3 on the Abomination, which is literally huge. That's awesome. And we also did 3 damage to it on top of it. So let's go ahead and resolve all this. I'll just put this die in here. We're going to bring all of those dice over and just unleash a whole bunch on this Abomination. That was a perfect time to Blade Dip, and a perfect roll too. I mean, we could have gotten higher on the attack, but it's still pretty good. No bones rolled on the attack dice is what matters for that Blade Dip. So we do get a poison poison 3 because we used 3 attack dice when we used a blade dip and counted it down, got rid of the consumable. So this 3 is going on top of this chip, and it's going to be true damage. It's going to hit this guy when it activates, and then it's going to rotate down to 2 and then down to 1. So this by itself, knowing that this thing has 5 health, could pretty much almost kill it. But again, it's going straight through all defenses regardless of this 2 on top now, so that's huge for us. We can kind of run away from him, which is something I probably should do. We also got the Feigned Death, so this is going to help us later if we happen to get chased down. So I can put this in an active slot for Duster, so I'll do that. It doesn't get used until I actually lose all of my health. 3 hits I might as well use right now because I've already targeted this particular Abomination, and it's going to take away the 2 defense, which we know will just self-repair later anyway, but at least it got through and did 1 damage to it. So that's going to help tick things down. And then we got a bone. And a bone is going to give us some options here. So the first option is we can heal ourselves for 1, we can move a position, or we can deal damage to any unit. So I could technically damage this unit, and by damaging him, on the next turn, this poison would trigger and it would kill him. That would be really good. So if we chose to go that route where I actually did damage this thing, and then on the next turn around, the poison effects right at the beginning, he dies off, then we know we have Nobulous and the Abomination coming in next, because this guy's going to die next. This guy will die at the beginning of the next one, so we'll have space for people to come in, for 2 of them to come in. And honestly, it's not a bad idea. Because we're going to be in pretty good shape. Gasket should be able to 1, 2, 3. He won't have too much. He won't be able to do too much to this guy yet. It's kind of a tough situation. He'll definitely be able to remove one of these 2, but we should be sitting in a pretty good spot for the most part. So I want to heal is really what I'm arguing in my brain, is whether I want to spend this bone to heal 1. But I don't see any reason in letting this thing sit around any longer, because I'm just drawing out everything. There's no reason for that at all. I'm just giving it more time to attack me and to self-heal and everything else. So, you know what? I'm going to do it. I've got Feigned Death on me, so if I do get hit for too much, then I can... Oh, and technically, I do have the Augmented Footwear on me, which allows me to move 1 adjacent position, does not cost a dex, but remember, you have to do your movement first before you do your attack. So I can't use that, and I can't use it to run away now. But I will use the bone, I think, to do the extra point of damage, because I think it just makes sense to just get this guy out of here and get Nobulous onto the board, because the faster we see Nobulous, then that is our focus, to just kill Nobulous and we win. So that is really, truly what we're going after here. So that's going to do it for Duster's turn. Very, very successful. Very happy with that. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to cycle over to number 5, which is pretty easy because it's just a true damage from bleeding, which is going to eliminate this guy. So again, to the stack, this lane is now open. So we know lane number 3 is going to be a potential lane in the future. This die comes out, and that's pretty much that. Very easy to resolve. Next up is Gasket. Now we have some options. We really have to decide, do we come over here to hit this guy for 1 damage, because that's all we really can do, or do we just go ahead and blast this guy to the sky so that it's no longer an issue and just continue to ignore him? Now, if I continue to ignore him, the only thing is he is going to move here and attack Duster, and I'd really not like that to happen either. So maybe it might make sense to have Gasket run over here and kind of block things up. So I'll have to think about that. So one thing that I just caught that I just realized, and it's very sad, and I'm sure there's some people in the comments that already mentioned it, but it's okay because it hasn't actually taken effect yet, but I'm going to take my blade dip back because I cannot place a condition on a mech, and I just did this for the first time in this playthrough, and I did it by accident. I did it on the Tyrant, forgetting that the Tyrant is actually a mech. This Abomination is. I can't do this poison, so my plan kind of changes quite a bit right now. So I'm going to take the blade dip back because I never really truly would have actually used it, and I just lose the poison. So nothing has actually happened, no game impact, just you guys probably in the comments below saying, what are you doing? So hopefully I caught that in time to fix. Now this definitely changes my strategy in terms of how I'm going to deal with this. All right, so my plan of attack now is to get Gasket over there as fast as humanly possible. So Gasket's going to go 1, 2, and 3 to get all the way right up here, just in case we have a situation where we lose Duster, or I can get anywhere within shot of this particular Tyrant. I can still always roll Blast in the future in order to hit it, but I'm hoping that Duster can survive long enough. If not, then Gasket can at least move into position to kill it. I am going to go ahead now though, and I'm going to use Blitz, because Blitz, if I attack this character with Blitz and it happens to land a 2, I can actually have it reverberate and it will hit the Abomination as well, which would be good. And then I have to roll a Hydro Valve to do that. I have 5 decks. I use 3 to move where I was to here. I'm going to roll these 2. I'll roll them around the mat because there's only 2 dice. We'll see how this pans out. It's not too exciting, but oh, okay. So this actually works out in a way for me, because this is perfect. So first off, I will do that hit. And that hit is going to go towards him. He can only take 1 damage anyway because he's hardy. So he's slowly kind of being killed off. And then next we're going to go ahead and that is going to resolve this die, which will go back to his stat area. This one has to be resolved right away, so I'm going to give myself 1 defense, which is great for Gasket. That's good. The other reason I did this is so that when this guy activates, Gasket gets hit and he doesn't move here and attack Duster. That was another reason why I brought Gasket in. And then this is fine actually, because no, sorry, that needs to be ticked down to 0 because I did spend it for the blast for the 1 hit. So I now have emptied my primary canister and I only have a secondary canister at 5 left. And this one's been resolved. So that was that, pretty quick. And we're gonna go ahead and now do the green, which is right here. So he's gonna go ahead and attack Gasket, and he's gonna be rolling a defense and an attack die. This is scary. I don't know how this is going to pan out. Oh my gosh. Are you serious? I rolled 2 bones again with him. What are the chances of that happening? Okay, well, anyway, I'm happy. If you can't tell. I probably can't. So there's 2 bones. Perfect. His turn's done. I still can't. I've done that twice in a row with him. That's craziness. And then the purple guy's going to activate over here. Again, melee. He's trying to get close to somebody, but he won't be able to get... Oh, no, he will. He can get to Gasket. And he's going to try. So he's going to go 1, 2 to Gasket. He self-repairs. He's already at 1. He attacks me for 1, which is pretty minor. So even if he hits, I should be able to block it. Yep. Block it with my active die. No damage done. There we go. So we're all surrounded now. So at least they've all come to us. That's kind of part of the party. But here's where things get fun. We've got to go ahead and activate these Tyrant dice. So the first one here is for the Abomination currently in play. So we're going to roll this one. See what happens. And this could literally change the game because I have no idea. We read about this earlier, but no, this is an overclock. So it says the Abomination immediately takes a turn. That was the worst thing I could have rolled. So the dice are against me now. So Abomination is going to go ahead here, self-repair. So he starts his turn out by going ahead and dropping 2 defense on himself. Fantastic. Now he's going to go ahead and roll 2 attack dice. Good thing that I put that feigned death on Duster, because Duster's going to take a hit here that I don't think she's going to be able to handle. Come on, where's those bones? Oh, got through anyway. So let me just double check what it says here for feign death. So feign death for Duster says the next time you would lose your last HP, instead set your HP to 2 and place an untargetable effect die on yourself. So I basically don't lose any health and I just get an untargetable effect die placed on myself. So the Tyrant can't touch me, which is fantastic. So I guess that's good. Yeah, I guess it is good because it's going to stop him from hitting me on the next turn too. That actually works really well. I'm okay with that. Okay. Done. And now we're going to move to this other die. This die is for Nobulous, and you still roll it even though Nobulous is not in play. Weird, right? But you do. And if it applies based on the effect you roll, you go ahead and do it. So I got this one. It says detonate. Defeat the Abomination. I kid you not. It says defeat the Abomination and do 2 damage to each unit adjacent to it. Okay. But no. This is not good. So the sad news of the day is, regardless of me being untargetable, this particular die literally forces the Abomination to kill itself, which is good because it helps me progress towards winning, but I lose a gear lock in the process because damage still applies to Duster, because all untargetable does is stops me from being a target of an attack. This was not a target of an attack, it was an implosion of the Abomination. So poor Duster has been obliterated off the map, which is unfortunate. So that Feign Death really didn't come in useful for me. So we'll take that die out. Wow, it's all up to Gasket now. This is nuts. Okay, this die goes back in here. The Abomination though, hey, the Abomination is gone. So that's kind of a good thing in a way. It's kind of a 1-for-1 trade-off. It's really coming down to just Gasket as to whether or not we can pull this off. So the Abomination has been defeated. We'll put this lane chip up here. This goes up here. These chips are gone. This initiative die is gone from Nightshade from a long time ago. And now that is the end. And now we have to figure out what happens when the Abomination is killed off, because we are also at the end of a round. So technically we are moving into round number 4. But at this particular time, this is going to be when Nobulous makes an appearance, as well as this Abomination comes back. So at this particular time, we're now going to go ahead and build the BQ again. So what we're doing here is we don't have any BQ right now. We don't have anybody sitting in the battle queue ready to come in. So it's just going to be made up of tyrants at this point. And the first tyrant that gets put into it when the Abomination is killed is Nobulous. So Nobulous gets put in first to start. But then the Abomination, as stated on the tyrant card, is then placed on top of it. And then we're going to go ahead and actually reveal this one at a time, putting in the most or the lowest lane marker available, in this case 1. So we're going to have 1 going to the Abomination, who's going to come back out again, and then we're going to have 3 for Nobulous. So we are going to actually be able to get them both out in the same round, which is a good thing. So I could just go crazy after Nobulous to try to take it down. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and get all the health behind both these guys, put them in their appropriate spots on the board, get their initiative dies in the track. All right, so I want to explain this to you guys because you're probably wondering, how the heck did this pan out like this? Well, what happened is the Tyrant couldn't come in, and the Abomination is the Tyrant I'm referring to. Nobulous was able to come into the yellow lane, no problem, in the range position, which I just learned that Nobulous is a ranged Tyrant. I didn't even know that until now. But the Abomination, making its second appearance, tried to come in lane number 1, but there's already something there, so it goes to 2. I'm there, so it goes to 3, and literally sits in front of Nobulous, which sounds bad, but it actually works out really good, because positionally, if I get Gasket into this area here and stop right here, and this baddie tries to follow me in being a melee baddie, I can be completely surrounded by enemies that I really don't care to be hit by. They're very minor attacks, and I can just hammer away at Nobulous. So this could actually work out really well in some crazy way. First off, at the first Tyrant to enter the field was the Abomination, and so the Abomination is going to have the first initiative die going at the very beginning of the track. So this is where things are kind of bad for me, but it should still work in my favor. And then we're going to have Nobulous, who came in last, who was on the bottom of the BQ, is going to be at the very top of the initiative meter like that. And that is how the fourth round is going to start. So we're going to start it off with Nobulous. So my thought process there about how this is going to pan out obviously goes down the tubes a little bit with Nobulous moving. But guess what? He doesn't, because he's ranged. So this is going to still pan out exactly the way I think it's going to. So first off, we're going to have Nobulous go. And just so you guys are aware, range going after the only gear lock available to attack, which is me. I have no defense, and it's going to roll 1 defensive die and 1 attack die. So we're going to take that and roll. Actually, not bad at all. Really, really easy, except when he rolls a really good result like that. So that's going to put 1 defense on him. He hits me for 2, which is actually almost enough to kill me, which is not good. So that's going to drop me down to 1. I'm going to definitely need to use my power converter to get myself back up. Okay, that was bad. And then that's going to be it. Now, this enemy, Nobulous, is hardy, so I'm going to need to hit him many times in a row to survive. So this is going to be a war of, trying to stay alive as long as possible because the fatigue round is coming up soon. The blue baddie is going to go next, and that's going to be the Abomination. Abomination self-repairs, can't do anything. It'll swap positions with somebody. Oh, that's going to be a problem. It's going to swap positions with somebody. That's going to be an issue, depending on where it is. Ugh, that's going to cause problems. Okay, so first off, the swapping of positions, I believe, if I remember correctly, ends at the end of the turn, yes, or happens at the end of the turn. So first off, it's going to try to get close to me as best it can. So it's going to move 1, 2 like this. And then it states here with the swap. So yeah, my plan about where I'm going to be positionally is going to change because I forgot about the swap. At the end of this unit's turn, it will switch positions with the closest, strongest opposing unit, which happens to be this one because it is literally the only strongest unit that is out there. So it's like this now. That actually did not work out the way I wanted it to at all. Ugh, that made things harder. Okay, so I guess the good news is it didn't get to attack me, so that's good. But besides that, that's about the only good thing there. And we're going to move on to Gasket's turn now. So Gasket, first of all, has a power converter 1 still. And on Gasket's sheet, it states that I can use this any number of times I want. And the power converter says simply discard a loot to set the die to max, reduce by 1 to self-heal for 1 HP. Can be used multiple times during Gasket's turn. So literally, as long as I have the loot to burn, I can power up that power converter and heal myself. So I'm going to use the 1 that I have, drop it down to 0 in order to get a health back. And knowing that I want to get another health back, I'm going to go ahead and discard this Water Mask card, which is going to allow me to set the die back to max again, which will get me back up to 3. And then I'm going to tick it down to 2 in order to put the other point of health on me, keeping me alive and in much better spirits. Now, I have to be really smart and think about how I want to use my dice and also get some defense going. So now the game really gets to shine in terms of its strategy here, and I only have so many things unlocked at this point. Again, if I had to have spent an extra couple days before I went after Nobulous, I'd have a few more training points, which might have given me more dice in here or higher stat values, all that good stuff, but the trade-off is more baddie points in general and probably a tougher battle. So I try to take advantage of my timing right now, but it looks like Gasket's the only one that can pull this off. So I've been trying to figure out a strategy as to how, what to use and when. And I really think, even though I want to make a big attack on this round, it just doesn't make sense to leave Gasket with absolutely no defense. Now, of course, if I roll a bone, I can use Hotfix, which allows me to put like a die in here for 1 defense. But if I'm going to be hit by 4 baddies left on the mat, I don't think 3 health is going to be enough to handle the situation. And of course, I have my power converter here that I can use on Gasket's turn to get my health back up, and 2 loot to discard in order to recharge that at any point in time as long as it's on his turn. So I can't do that in between turns when I'm taking hits. So that's why I'm being careful here. So I've already gathered the pool of dice I think I'm going to roll. I'm going to keep Gasket exactly where he is because I know that the swap ability on the Abomination is going to move me anyway. So when it triggers on the next round, it does go before Gasket, then it will swap positions with me. In essence, I won't really lose too much in terms of getting closer to the Tyrant. It'll actually end up putting me closer to the Tyrant for my next turn. So strategy-wise, it makes sense to just stay put and be able to roll the most dice I can. Also, I have to be rolling the Hydro Valve die. I'm going to roll all 3 defensive dice so I can try to fill up my active slots with as much defense as possible. And if I get really lucky, I can carry some of that defense over to the next round. And then the one thing I want to do is I want to use Cut. Now, everything out here on the mat right now is a mech except for that Kobold, which is a regular baddie. So I can go ahead and cut that one and let it bleed out. And that just makes sense. I don't want to have to keep hitting it and wasting stuff on it. But if I go ahead and use this and roll it, If I happen to roll the hydro valve die like this, it'd be perfect because I can spend one hydro. This doesn't need to cost me anything because I'm using one hydro on cut. I can cut the kobold, I can kill it, it'll bleed itself out, and I can kind of just ignore it. And that's just one baddie down, and then I can start focusing on other things. I'm trying to do as little amount of attacks to the other ones as I can and really focus on getting to Nobulous because I got to start taking hits against them. We're in round 4, and once we hit that fatigue round in round 6, everyone starts taking damage, and then Gasket's in big trouble because I just don't have the health to compete with Nobulous when I'm also taking hits from a lot of baddies. So I've got to weigh that out pretty good. So anyway, going into this, don't know how it's going to pan out, but rolling defensive dice seems like a good idea near the end of the round. Plus we have all the nasty Tyrant dice coming at us as well, which will likely be bad. So we're going to go ahead into the dice tray. We'll roll these 5 dice. This is going to use all 5 decks for Gasket. Cross your fingers. I'm going to need all the help I can possibly get. All right, Gasket, you are literally holding the fort down on your own. Come on, we need some defense here. Hey, that's not bad. Okay, so we ended up rolling a bone. But it wasn't on a defensive die, so that's good. We did get the cut, and we didn't do too bad on the defensive rolls either. We didn't get any bones on the defense, so that is quite good. So we're going to slot those defensive dice in. We have to trigger the green bone right away, and then the cut die we know we're going to place on any adjacent unit we choose, and I'm definitely going to be choosing to place it on the kobold beside me because it's the only one that can actually have the bleed condition on him, and that was kind of part of the plan. So that's perfect. Let's go ahead here and slot this stuff in. It would have been nice to get like, you know, 5 defense or 6, but 4 is pretty good. All right, so we're going to slot in a 2 defense die right here, and we're going to slot in a 1 defense die, and then another single defense die. So he is definitely all geared up for some serious beatings from the baddies. He also has a green bone to spend. It says, must place in the backup plan and must use it this turn. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to place in the backup plan. He has to use hotfix right away. We know what hotfix is. You either gain a die or 1 defensive die or increase 1. So the good news is we get that 5 defense anyway. We could have got a max of 6, so that worked out pretty good. The bone has now been used. I'll just put this in the prep area to roll later. And we landed the cut ability, so now we're going to go ahead and choose an adjacent unit to basically put this on, and it certainly is going to land on the kobold. So the final thing to add to the battle mat is this wonderful cut that went straight through the kobold. So it's going to put a bleed token on him, which is perfect timing because as you can see from the initiative meter, he's going to be activating next and he'll be taking true damage. So we can go ahead and put this cut die back into the skill matrix for Gasket. Again, it doesn't get exhausted. I can use it later. The one thing is though, we do have to tick down the canister, which is the secondary canister, currently at 5. We're going to drop it down to 4. So we'll put that back in the lock slot, and now we're going to go ahead and activate the kobold, which is immediately going to take 1 point of true damage thanks to this bleed token. And next round, it will be gone before it has a chance to make an attack. But right now, we need to make an attack with the kobold against Gasket. It won't be moving anywhere. It's quite happy to stay exactly where it is after being sliced. It's going to roll a defense die and an attack die. In the last couple rolls for this thing, it's done really poorly, and I'm hoping that that trend continues. I think it was 2 sets of 2 bones each, both times. So let's hope that happens a 3rd time. That'd be fantastic. So here we go. That's not bad. So no extra defense. The defense is actually not that great. If it had been reversed, it would have been better because the true damage will kill him regardless of his defense anyway, even if he got some. But the attack is what we didn't want to happen. But we did shield ourselves up, so I'll use 1 active defense die to block that. And then the bone does nothing. And that is all resolved. So I still have, just so you guys are aware, 2 active, 2 defense die sitting into his active area. Okay, so at the end of the next round, this individual will be gone, but right now we're still in round number 4, and we have to activate the purple baddie, which is the mech swarm. So this individual is going to be making an attack against this melee, so it's going to be coming over to our side of things like this. And we're going to be rolling 1 attack die because it rolls the attack based on how much health it has, and only has 1 health. So here's hoping it's a bone or a 1. I don't want to see a 2 on this thing because that would be terrible. So here we go. Come on, low numbers. That rolled literally right off camera. It's a 1. So it will actually hit me, which I can just tick one of these 2s down to a 1, and we've blocked that successfully. All right, that is that. Now we get to the Tyrant dice. These are the ones I'm most scared of because they do some pretty nasty things. So here we go. We got overclock last time. We actually went ahead and rolled a die. This one was for the Abomination, so let's hope that doesn't happen again because that allows him to immediately take another turn, and I don't want the Abomination to hit me again. So, oh no, it's different. I got the reboot. Place the Abomination on top of the battle queue. That's actually not bad. That worked well. I guess it doesn't do much. He just comes right. He'll end up coming right back in again in the exact same position. So essentially, he's already got full health, but otherwise he would come back in and be at full health. That's essentially what's happening with Reboot is if I had have hit the Abomination, so good thing I didn't do that, but if I had have and he hadn't have been at full health, he would lead the battle mat, which I'm still going to do anyway, because that's exactly what it says to do, is remove him and then bring him back in later. But when I do bring him back in, then he is going to come back into the mat at the top of the queue. So it's actually going to end up changing the initiative order. So instead of Nobulous going first, the Abomination will go first. And the health is fully restored. That's what the reboot is doing. But I guess the good news is that he's not there, but he's going to come back in the exact same position anyway. So, But at least it didn't hurt me. So that's a plus. So we'll take this die, put this in the track, shuffle it down, and move on to the next one, which is going to be for Nobulous, and we're going to hope this one's not nasty on us either. So far so good. We got ourselves, I think I got this before. Detonate, defeat the Abomination, and do 2 damage to each unit adjacent to it. Are you kidding me? That is the luckiest combination I could have ever gotten. I literally got the die to remove him, and then I just got the Detonate die, which is doing nothing because he's not on the battle mat. So that's fantastic. Perfect. And again, if you ever roll an actual side on these Tyrant dice when rolling during this battle that don't apply or can't be done, then you simply ignore them. And that's exactly what I'm doing with this. So perfect. Could not have worked out any better. And just like that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to flip our round marker to round number 5. We're 1 away from the fatigue round. We are now going to shuffle all these to the end. We're bringing in a new baddie, technically not really new. It's going to start at the very front because it's a Tyrant, and Tyrants always enter at the front. This Tyrant will literally pop right back into the exact same position it was already in, and it's going to activate first. So now what is going to happen is the Abomination is going to trigger first, just like this, and self-repair happens, but it doesn't because it's already at 2, fully self-repaired. It will swap at the end of its turn, so it's simply going to go ahead and make an attack against me, rolling 2 dice. I have 3 defense left on me, and hopefully I can handle whatever this thing's going to throw at me. Okay, so 2 hits. Kind of a harsh one, but we can handle it with 1 of our active 2 defense die. We remove that. Now we're down to just this in the active slot for Gasket. So getting down there, but all that shielding definitely helped us to avoid any too much harm. And of course, right now we did the swap. And the swap actually helps me. This is kind of the reason why I didn't move at all during the end of the last turn, because I knew once this thing attacks me, I'm going to be able, or activates and does its thing at the end of its turn, it swaps with the highest. And I'm going to double check that really quickly. It says on the card that at the end of this unit's turn, it will switch positions with the closest, strongest opposing unit. So that includes its own units. But as you can see, I've got them so whittled down to 1 HP that I'm totally safe because I'm still at 3, so I am the strongest adjacent unit. So that's all done and squared away, and we're going to go ahead here and activate. Next up is Nobulous. So Nobulous, again, being ranged, is going to sit there. He does not self-heal. He's just hardy. So he's going to stay right there. He's ranged. He can hit me from anywhere. He's going to roll 1 attack die. Pretty light. So Nobulous' attack, like his regular attack when he initiates, is pretty bland, and I love that. But his dice are brutal because they always manipulate the Abomination and make my life miserable. But I got really lucky with the combination last time. So here we go, we're rolling for an attack against Gasket. I have 1 active defense die, and you can consider that active defense die wasted. So that has now removed every bit of defense that I had. Now the great news is it was perfect because I had just enough defense to get through all those Tyrant dice and get all the way back around again to get through the 2 Tyrants and not take any damage, which is perfect. And so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to activate Gasket. I'm going to have to make decisions on where I want to go. We already know we don't have to worry about this guy because he will be killed immediately. So the next question becomes, do we bother maybe trying to make an attack here against Abomination? Do we try to, hit this thing to kill it off? That might not be a bad idea to remove another attack. This it could be possible that we should move one in order to actually make our first hit against Nobulous, which wouldn't be bad. Again, it's a mech, so I can't cut it in order to make it bleed. I have to actually make hits against him in order to take it down. Okay, I think it is now time to make our move against Nobulous. Now, this is a great time to try to pull this off because I only have to move 1 dex worth to get close to him. So the real decision comes down to whether I want to go north or whether I want to go west. Now, if I go north, what's going to happen is the green one will activate and will disappear from the battle. Purple will activate and move 2 to where I currently am. I'll be up here. And then later on, the Abomination here will come over here. And essentially the bad thing is the Abomination will actually switch me out here to here, putting me between him and Nobulous. Not a really great position to be in. Whereas if I move here, this one will die. Then the purple one will activate. I can move it here. And then the Abomination will move here. And then when it does its swap, I'll be here, which is a much better position to be at. So you got to think about that stuff in advance, because if you don't, you can put yourself in a really bad situation. So I'm going to put myself over here to the west so that when I get repositioned at some point by the Abomination, I get put here instead of over here, which would be really bad. Okay, so now that we've moved there, we have 4 decks left to spend. I'm going to be going ahead and rolling an attack and a defense because I want to get some defense back up. I lost so many before. Have to roll a Hydro die as always when I'm doing this. Kind of hoping I roll a bone here. We'll see whether that pans out so I can actually get even more defense. And in order to make my attack dice more useful, instead of rolling 2 attack dice, I'm going to roll the Blitz as well, because a Blitz is actually worthwhile because, again, I can actually spend it to 1 Hydra, which I'm going to have to anyway if I land Hydra over here. But if I roll these and get these as normal, I can spend for 1 Hydro. And the bonus, the reason I'm doing this strategically is because there's actually 2 sides of 2 on the Blitz die. Now, it's not going to help me in the reverberation of damage anywhere, but that's not why I'm using it. I'm using it strictly to try to put the most amount of damage on him and get past his defense and actually get an HP on him. So by doing this, it's better than an attack die. Plus, always having one of these actual skill dice rolled with a Hydro die is a smart thing to do, because it's better to be actually using your 1 point of Hydro spend on an actual skill die versus like a Hydro drip because you didn't use a skill die with Hydro on it and you just basically leaked it out. So I'm going to go ahead and roll these 4 dice. We're going to cross our fingers that things pan out well. Well, here we go. All right, Gasket, we need to get past that 1 defense of Nobulous. Come on, make it happen. Yes, and actually a really good hit. Would have been fantastic, except for the fact this silly Nobulous has Hardy. It would have been a great hit. But this is actually good all the way around because it'll work out perfectly. I can use my 1 Hydro to use the Blitz for 3 total damage. But again, 3 total damage gets past the 1 defense that he does have, which is now removed. And then 2 goes through to him, but really only 1 hits him. So we'll go to the battle map because of Hardy. We'll remove 1 chip from him, and I get to gain a defense. All right, with the roll all figured out, we're going to go ahead and put 3 damage onto Nobulous. I already removed the 1 defensive die that was on him, so 2 gets through, but he has Hardy, so only 1 actually hits. So we'll take 1 HP off. We're slowly getting him down to a level that's going to work for us. Remember, we're going to be moving into a fatigue round soon, so it's going to become a battle of who can survive the longest. And it's going to be really tough for Gasket to do this with only 3 HP, but I hope I can swing it. So again, that's going to cost me 1 Hydra to use, which means I don't have to take the cost here from the drip. So we'll go to our secondary canister, drop it from a 4 down to a 3. We're still doing good there, basically meaning we could potentially do that 3 more rounds before we start taking damage into the 4th. And I'm not talking about the round die here. I'm talking about how much more I have to drip out of these secondary canister before I start taking damage for not having any Hydro. And then we're going to go ahead and add the 1 active defense into my active area. So that's good. It gives me some defense. Everything's been resolved. We're all done here. And we'll go ahead and we're going to activate the next one in line, which is the green one, who's going to die instantly from bleeding, which is fantastic. So that plan worked out great because we don't have to deal with it. So we'll take that away. We'll also remove the chip out of the initiative meter so we don't have to see it anymore. And goodbye, Cobalt. You weren't so great. Next up, we're going to go ahead and activate this baddie here. Again, already self-repaired to the fullest, and it is melee, so it'll try to get close to Gasket. I can choose to put it here or here. I'm absolutely 100% going to place it. Now, if I actually placed it here... Ooh, if I placed it there 1, 2. Oh, the Abomination couldn't get to me if I do that. Ooh, that's tempting. I may have to think about where I want to move this mech swarm. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. I'm going to go ahead and have the mech swarm move to here instead of here, because it actually puts up a nice wall between me and the Abomination, and it's going to take the Abomination longer to get to me and keep him away from me when the Tyrant dice start getting rolled soon. So that actually buys me some time, and I don't get repositioned, which is great. Now again, I have to hope that this thing doesn't get a double activate or I'm screwed, but beside that, things are looking okay. But I still have to take an attack here from the mech swarm. I've moved it. It doesn't need to self-repair. It's already at 1. It's going to roll 1 attack die. I have 1 defensive die. Okay, so it blows away my active defense dice. Now I have literally no defenses up, but we are done in terms of movement, and now we're going to go to the Tyrant dice. So first one up is the Abomination Tyrant die. Let's see what happens here. Ooh, now have not seen that one yet. So this is called a Malicious Code. Strongest opposing unit rolls poison effect die and applies result to itself. Guess what? When your gasket doesn't hurt you, poison does not affect me. So nice try, Abomination, but that's not going to work out for you. So that is a full-on miss. Whew, that was close. We're heading on over here too, and that's honestly, I think, the only side of that whole thing that's good. The only other one that would be a positive for me right now would potentially be it rebooting. So I've got, you know, that one's, the Abomination die is not that bad. Nobulous's die, on the other hand, is kind of a pain for us. So let's see how this pans out. I'm a little scared. Okay, we got the heart. We've had the heart before. Have we had the heart before? I don't know if we've had the heart before. I'm forgetting. Nobulous immediately takes a turn. Oh, this is bad. And has +2 attack for this turn. Now, I'm pretty sure we haven't had this. I forget. I don't think we have, but I'm not sure. Might be just drawing a blank at this point now. Nobulous immediately takes a turn, so +2 attack. Actually, this is really bad. He's rolling 3 attack dice against me. Oh my gosh. That's terrible. Okay, well, we're going to roll 3 attack dice, and we're going to cross our fingers that we don't die. All right, guys, this is it. This is a humongous roll, by far the most terrifying roll of the entire playthrough. Nobulous is making an attack against Gasket. I literally have 3 health, no defense whatsoever. We're rolling 3 attack dice in the end, and if I land a result like that, which just happened to land as 3 1s, which is not a roll, by the way, but if I land those results or higher, Gasket is going to die immediately, and we lose this attempt at going, and we lose this particular attempt at going after Nobulous. Now, I want to let you guys know that I am doing this to basically say that whether I win here or I lose here, the playthrough will end in this video. Now, granted, I'm on the 8th day, and what I want you guys to know before I make this roll, because I'm pretty certain I could die here, is that being on the 8th day, I would still technically, if I was playing this off camera, have the 9th and 10th day, and that is within the rules. So I could go on another encounter, try to skill up, come back and try to take Nobulous down. So it truly isn't a loss, but it would be an unsuccessful attempt at taking down the Tyrant and a waste of a day. Of course, that would make coming back and trying to fight Nobulous later much harder, because the baddie point total would go back up, meaning that we'd be going into day number 9 times 2, which is now 18 points for baddie points. So it's making it even harder on us. So that's the downside of losing encounters, is that your baddie point total starts going up, 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 and you're not getting the training points to really catch up that way. So you don't want to take too many losses, or you can get in some serious trouble. So the reason I say all of that is, regardless of how this roll goes, just know that if you're playing this game on your own, off camera, and things like that, which of course you will do if you own it or plan to pick it up, that you could continue on past this 8th day. You could go the 9th and 10th and try to make multiple attempts at Nobulous. But for the purposes of this showcase, and the fact that I cannot draw this thing out for that many more videos, we're going to make one roll here to see whether I survive. The other thing I want to make mention of before I make this roll is, again, if I hit a 3 or higher, I die instantly. The other nasty thing is we're currently on round number 5. So what's going to happen is, and we're at the end of the initiative meter. So let's just say hypothetically that I take 2 hits and a bone. You think you'd be willing to cheer for me that things have gone perfectly well. Well, when we rotate from the 5th round into the fatigue round, everyone on the battle mat takes a true point of damage, which would kill Gasket, and we would lose. So basically, what I really need to roll, which is almost near impossible, is I need to roll this. And the chances of that happening are so slim that I can't even describe how impossible that kind of a roll likely is. Now, if I get this, I will lose my mind, but it's probably not going to happen. If I get that, I can survive another round and live to see another day. But we're going to roll this right now. After all that, so you understand every single angle of this thing. And, well, Gasket, it's pretty much all up to you at this point. So here we go. We're not rolling inside of the dice tray. We're rolling right in the prep area, and we'll see how this goes. Hold your breath, cross your fingers, do whatever you need to do, because I need all the luck I could possibly get. That was not what I wanted. So regardless of the die here that's cocked sideways, 2 of them did land flat, and that is enough damage. I would normally re-roll cocked die, so we'll just roll it for fun. There you go. Nobulous hammered me into the ground. So even though Gasket had a chance here, all of my health is lost, and that is considered a defeat. So the cool thing about this game is the fact that off camera, I am definitely, because I've gotten this far, going to try to, beat this one. I'm going to try to play this again on the 9th and 10th day and things like that off camera. But for the purpose of the showcase, we're going to end it here. So not every playthrough ends in a win. And the cool thing to show you with this one is that not every tyrant is easy. So, we played the first showcase with the original Too Many Bones. I used patches, played with one single gear lock all the way through, and we won. And to be totally honest, I had some crazy rolls in that one, and I even had some crazy rolls in this one. But I'm telling you, regardless of your strategy, well, actually, your strategy has a huge, huge impact on the game. I think that's something that's lost on a lot of people that don't understand the game, but there is dice, but there's dice mitigation built into it with the backup plan, and where you choose to locate yourself in the battle map. And if you know the abilities of the baddies, you can use all that information, including the tyrant die information, to basically make informed decisions on where you should be moving to have the highest chance or highest odds of being successful. Doesn't mean you're always going to be successful, like this didn't work out. But to be totally honest, we went into this battle with a 3 health Gasket, which is super low. We went in with a 2 health Nightshade and a 3 health Duster, and we made it almost to the end. That's actually really impressive when you think about it, based on the fact we didn't come in with like heavy health, and we were able to survive that far along. So that was really cool. Anyway, long story short, this is considered unsuccessful on this day, but not a loss. I will then go off camera here and play this on the 9th and 10th day, trying to attempt to take Nobulous down. First off, I want to thank all of you guys for watching up to this point. This is going to end off the playthrough, and it's going to conclude the showcase. Now, the other thing I have left to do is to announce the winner of the Too Many Bones Undertow giveaway for rolling solo, going for 2 full years. So you're going to see that winner announced right now. And now we get to the exciting part where we get to announce the Too Many Bones bundle giveaway for rolling solo 2 full years. And it wouldn't be possible without you guys, so this giveaway is me giving back to you to thank you for your amazing support of the channel all the way through and continuing forward. There's one lucky winner that'll be walking away with this Too Many Bones bundle, which will include the Too Many Bones core experience, as well as Undertow, which we just showcased here, and this 2.0 adventure map, which is double-sided to be used in either of those 2 products. So one individual here for the community is literally getting all of this for nothing, as a big thank you. So without further ado, let's announce that winner, and that winner is Travis Freeze from Waterloo, Iowa, USA. I'll be getting in contact with you. Congratulations, Travis, and we'll be able to get your details and get this bundle sent out to you. Thank you guys so much for all the feedback, comments along the way for the Undertow journey. I really hope the videos were able to inform you so you can make an informed decision on whether the game is for you or not. And I also want to announce that Madara is coming up as the next showcase on Rolling Solo, and I cannot wait to show you guys how we are going to play that one through. We're going to be playing a different variant on that one than you've seen before for solo play, which I think is a much more efficient way to play the game. So thank you guys again. Hope to see you in the Madara showcase upcoming later this week. And as always, keep on rolling solo.